Match number 5 of the Indian T20 League features Kolkata taking on Mumbai. Kolkata, of course, making the debut in this edition of the Indian T20 League, while Bombay will be looking to bounce back after their opening day loss at the hands of Chennai. I'm Anubhav Jain, or Calcuttan Anubhav Jain, I should say. So no prizes for guessing where my allegiance lies in this encounter. And I'm beyond delighted to be joined by the usual suspects, Ayaz, Memon and Mandira Lalvani. Ayaz, Mandira, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Calcuttan and Mumbaikar.
Brilliant. Ayaz, let's kick things off with you. Top talking points for this encounter as well as your hot player picks.
Well, the biggest talking point actually is it might not be music to your ears as a Kolkatan, but of the last matches these two teams played, they have won. Kolkata has won only once. Of a total of 25 matches, Mumbai have won 19. So you know where the dice is heavily loaded. So you know Kolkata is better watch out. Having said that, I must add that in the UAE, Mumbai's record is quite dismal. They played 6 matches and lost all 6. So there is some solace there for
including one to Kolkata. Including one to Kolkata, I must mention.
Including one to Kolkata, yes. But look, I think Mumbai have to rev things up because they lost the first. There's this theory that they, the hypothesis that they always start slowly and then they can kind of gather pace and then end up in the playoffs and then go on to win the titles. They won 4 times, but that may not hold true every year. So they need to really rev up. I think the core group, Rohit, Decock, Pollard, the Pandya brothers, that's the core team of the core set of players. They need to go beyond cameos. So to answer the second part of your question, pick my choices, and I'm going to do again what I do every day is pick 3 from each team. From Mumbai, obviously Rohit Sharma, because he's their kingpin, so to speak, as a captain and as a batsman. Kieron Pollard, I thought he looked dangerous in the opening match, but couldn't go on to do the really dangerous thing, which is play a long innings. And I would still look at Hardik Pandya as an X factor, so I would include him there in that mix. There are other worthies, including Quinton de Kock, but my 3 picks from Mumbai would be Rohit Sharma, Kieron Pollard, and Hardik Pandya. For Kolkata, Sunil Narayan, I hope he's fit because part of the Caribbean Premier League, he's the score. The other person I would pick is, and because he's been bought for such a huge fancy price, is Pat Cummins. And the pitches here seem to be helping fast bowlers too. It's not just slow bowlers who are dominating. And the third player I will choose is actually Shubman Gill. He might, in all likelihood, he'll open the innings. He's a wonderful young player, and I think he's coming into his own.
Okay, so Kolkata versus Mumbai, and the two Kolkata and Mumbai sitting in front of me. But yes, 19 out of 25 matches have been won by Bombay. However, the UAE is going to toss things up a bit, and Kolkata for sure will be hoping on it. We're hoping for it. As far as the first match is concerned, there were a few cracks that shone through. That lack of match fitness is very apparent. Nathan Coulter-Nile is injured. I wonder if he'll be playing. So I think Kolkata will be looking to capitalize a bit on those cracks, and also the fact that they've had a chance to sit out and suss the scene. Mumbai played the opening match. Kolkata is going in with a little more knowledge. Of course, the toss is very important because the dew factor will make it difficult for the defending team to defend their runs. So they have to put a high score on the board, whichever team is playing first. Apart from that, I think Kolkata, also the fact that it has Brendan McCullum now as the new head coach, will be interesting to see what strategies come into play. So these are just a few factors to look out for in the talking points. As far as the players are concerned, of course, I made my notes. Okay, let's start with Kolkata. Definitely Shubman Gill. For the same reason, he's a young talent and he gave a good account of himself in the Under-19 World Cup, of course. Then Ian Morgan. He's also been bought for a decent amount of money. He fortifies the middle order solidly. Karthik and Russell together are pretty indomitable, and that would be, and he can see the game through. He plays the spin really well. So Ian Morgan for sure. Prasidh Krishna, the pacer. I think he's a bit understated. He's one to watch out for. As far as Mumbai is concerned, definitely Kieron Pollard. Mumbai has to capitalize on his form from the CPL. And like I said, he's a power punter, the big hitter, and the versatile one. He can be handed the ball, and so can Hardik Pandya for that matter. Quinton de Kock for sure had a brilliant start in his first match, but was unable to convert it into anything solid like a half century. So I think I'll be looking out for him. And Saurabh Tiwari First 6 of the tournament, 42 runs of 31 balls. Also very, very promising. So he will be the third one that I'll be watching out for in the Mumbai team.
And Mandira, you mentioned 3 names in the Kolkata middle order. You talked about Dinesh Karthik, Owen Morgan, and Andre Russell. Do you think that's one of the strongest middle orders in the league?
Most definitely. I think if you see the Kolkata batting order, it's almost like the shape of a bell, because these 3 can finish the match off. They will trouble. And I think they have the powerhouse and the talent to be able to deal with most deliveries. So you need a very, very wily spinner or a perfect pacer. The deliveries and the varieties of the ball will be very, very important to try and shake these 3 up a bit. But this trio is definitely the indomitable trio of the middle order, I feel.
And Mandira, let's talk a bit about Jasprit Bumrah, of course, known to be one of the most superior death bowlers, but of course, not in the best of forms. In the first game, I believe he went to wicketless, so went forward 10 runs per over as well against Chennai. Sam Curran, whacking him all over the park. Is that a cause for concern for Mumbai, you think?
No, I don't think so. It's too early in the tournament. Bumrah is superbly talented. He's very, very effective. And let's not forget, these guys have all come at the back of no cricket. It's going to take him some time to get into his rhythm. And I think for Rohit Sharma, the whole point will be to give him confidence and tell him, listen, don't worry about it. That wasn't your best innings for sure, but I'm sure you'll make up for it. Just play your game and, go for it. So I don't think that's a cause for concern at all.
And Ayaz, you concur with Mandira?
Yes, and I certainly agree that if you've been sitting out for 5-6 months, just being every day in and day out of the net is not really going to make you bowl better. It's obviously a drill and a regimen. But if you don't have enough match practice, if you're not playing matches, that will show up, and that's what happened. And I think it will be harsh to judge him only on one match. I think Bumrah is one of those guys who's thinking cricketer. He knows what his skills are. He knows what his strengths are. He knows what his limitations are. He's amongst the most impressive youngsters to have come out of not just India but anywhere in the world in the last 5-6 years. The way he's kind of zoomed up to the top of the ranking. So I see him coming back strongly. I would be very surprised if match after match after match, because they have to play him. He keeps getting hit all over the park like happened in the first match.
Brilliant. And now time for the juicy predictions. Mandira, Ayaz, your picks for this encounter in terms of teams.
I would say Mumbai. I think the sheer fact of having won 4 titles, there's the ability to come out from a hole or from a dark corner and say, okay, here we are, we're announcing ourselves in this tournament again.
As far as the ground is concerned and seeing what we have of the first match, the Pacers did actually do a little bit better than the spinners, in which case the Kolkata might have an advantage. Brendan McCullum as the head coach, their first game, they're fresh out of the gates, literally, as you speak, in terms of horse racing. So for this encounter, I will go for Kolkata.
Brilliant. Beautifully summed up, as always, by my experts, Ayaz Memon and Mandira Lalvani. As Ayaz and Mandira both mentioned, the head-to-head record between both these teams has been slightly lopsided. Bombay winning 19 out of the 25 encounters between these 2 teams. But of course, they're on a 6-match losing streak in UAE. So it's shaping up to be a fascinating encounter. We certainly hope that you enjoy this contest and do stay tuned on our OnePlay Sports pages throughout the course of the Indian T20 League for more such reviews on our platforms. Please give this video a like, share it with your friends and family members if you enjoyed it, and continue staying tuned on our pages. Thank you so much for having joined us. Until next time, stay safe and take care.